Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. We're here to talk through Manchester United getting a new director of football. We've been wanting it for a long time. INEOS are not wasting any time. There's been rapid sort of change in these first, what is it? It's just over a month now since the Christmas Eve statement. And a lot has happened before Ratcliffe's even ratified. Going to run through the Telegraph's article. I did a video yesterday. You might have missed it. So we're going to have a conversation as a community this morning. We're also going to speak about the Premier League results last night. Luton spanking Brighton 4-0. Do you know now that's De Zerbi's only got 3 wins out of the last 16 in the Premier League. Anyway, speak about that. Speak about Michael Elise. We'll speak about Marcus Rashford, more fallout to everything that's gone on. Build up to the Wolves game. A couple of interesting talking points that I want to run through with you. And as always, you can let me know what you think throughout the entire show, and I'll try and answer as many of your comments as I possibly can. And look at this. I don't remember doing this before, but before I even get down to the member gang, Fizz, you gifted 10 memberships before the show even started. That's incredible. And can I say, by the way, little gong here, before we start reading the names out, I worked on the software for another 4 hours yesterday, and right now we're on course to launch on Friday. I'm looking forward to this. I seriously am, because I was losing my bloody mind yesterday. Anyway, who's here from the member gang? Let's have a look. Dan, we've got Chris, we've got Carl, King, Fair, Breen, Charlie. Man, there is an absolute green army down here. Josh, Joseph, William, Sue, good morning to you. And Gungshi, how you doing, man? We've got Madhouse, we've got Anthony, we've got T, Josh, legends galore, Mania. People saying we should hire De Zerbi. We'll speak about that in a little bit, right? I like doing this. A little 5-minute start at the show. We can talk about other results and other talking points around United, because I think it's quite interesting, some of it. And on Facebook, we've got, who have we got down here? We've got Carl Oliver, Chris Hall, Onyi Jude, Wayne Richardson, Deco Dukas. We've got Jamie Griffiths and one more name. Let's have a look. Lee Case. Good morning to all of you. Gongshi. All of you legends. Can I say it all the time. I like to think that, you know how I always say that everything you put into the community, I try and reinvest back into it. I like to think you can see that being reflected in the quality of the content going up, because I'm now able to bring in more editors to make that higher quality content. The new software that launches on Friday, the whole live shows will get a massive level up. So everything that you're doing, I'm putting back into United People's TV. So big up to all of you. But let's have a quick look at the results yesterday in the Premier League, because there was some interesting ones, I think it's fair to say, right? The standout result, without a shadow of a doubt, is Brighton getting absolutely tanked by Luton. I think they were 2-0 up within 2 minutes, which I think is one of the fastest that's happened in Premier League history. Ended up winning 4-0, hat-trick for Luton. As I said, 3 wins out of the last 16 for De Zerbi and Brighton in the Premier League. And you know what makes that even worse? They're still above United in the league. I know. But probably, especially if we look at what games we've got coming up, you might say that Villa one was even more important. Villa losing their home record. First time this season since they've lost at home. Well, anyway, first time in a long-ass time that they've lost at home. Newcastle beat them quite convincingly as well. And Man United, of course, our next away game after Wolves, I think, is Aston Villa. Who have we got in between? No, sorry. Have we got 3 away? Have we got 3 away games in a row? Wolves, West Ham on Sunday, and then Villa. I think so. Another interesting result. And let's see what it's done to the table. Piro, I've seen you sent a super sticker. I don't know what super stickers are. I can't even see anything on here. It just pops up red. Thanks for the super sticker, dude. But this is the table. Manchester United currently sitting in 9th place. As I said, we're below Brighton and they've only won 3. As West Ham at home. Sorry, I got my fixtures all messed up. So West Ham is at home. So our next away game after is Aston Villa. But we're currently 9 points off the top 4. And the top 4 is the absolute maximum I think we can aim for in the league this season. And to say that at the start of January, well, to be honest, you could have said that in December as well. It's pretty bad. Do you know what? Probably the worst stat of all that I'm about to give you. I might ruin your whole day. Quite a few of you might already know this. Look how many goals Manchester United have scored. All right. Goals forward, we've scored 24. Let's have a run through the teams that have scored more goals than us this season. Luton. Luton have scored 4 more goals than us. Nottingham Forest have scored more goals than us. Brentford have scored more goals than us. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham. There's only 2 teams who have scored less goals than us. And that's Burnley and Sheffield United, the bottom 2. It's a miracle we're 9th with 24 goals in 21 games. It is a miracle we are 9th. You know that? Jeez. We've had some sort of staying power somehow. Ish. But we are currently properly languishing in mid-table. We are in mid-table form. But of all, look, we'll speak about the Wolves game a little bit later in the show, okay? And I know that we've just spoken about the Villa game there. We've spoken about Luton. But there's one individual I want to speak about from the Palace game as well. My word. There is this conversation we're about to have now. Just put a short out as well if you want to check that out on TikTok and Instagram. Conversations around Elise are there for a reason, right? Man City wanted Elise in the summer for a reason. There is a reason why it was considered such a coup for Crystal Palace to get him to sign a new contract this season, removing the old release clause and adding the new release clause in. Not bad form in any way, shape, or form. Look at that. 2 assists and a goal yesterday from Elise against Sheffield United. And he's looking mustard. Tom Goldsworthy. Right, let me just quickly pull this one up. I'm pretty sure that is completely wrong. Awful injury record, he says down there. Well then, sir, let's have a quick look at this. I don't know whether I'm completely correct on this one, but I'm pretty sure that, yep, I'm pretty sure that you are just reacting to what is going on or what has gone on here. Let's quickly have a look at Elise's injury record then for you. So you're telling me quite literally the only injury that he has had in his whole career is the hamstring injury that he's still struggling with. Righto. Awful injury record, that. Real awful injury record. My God, there's no way we can go near him. Yeah, there's no doubt that this hamstring injury problem has been hurting him this season. But to try and say that Michael Elise has got an awful injury record, no, that means that you're looking at something that's happened now. You haven't done research into it, and you've been proven wrong. So imagine what a little bit of research can do. I'm going to be interested to follow how this Elise story develops. Because if Manchester United was smart, and there's no way I'm doing a Martial one, it would be a long old, it will be a long old list, probably 2 pages. But if Man United had done their due diligence properly, okay, we would never have signed Anthony. Truth be told, not for the price that we were quoted. We would have looked elsewhere. And if we did our due diligence properly, right, then you could probably have looked at Michael Elise. You could have looked at Pedro Neto. And there would have been others as well, instead of paying 80 million for Anthony. But whether it's Neto, whether it's maybe Inaki Williams, whether it's Michael Elise, there's going to be some real exciting players that we look at. And I'm looking forward to it. At this moment in time, we can't really get too excited about speaking about new signings just yet, because we need to get our CEO in place. We've got him. He's not coming to the summer, but he's already going to be working behind the scenes, gardening leave. Won't be able to do anything in an official capacity. Director of football, which I will speak about in around about 10 minutes or so. There's a couple more talking points I want to run through here to kick off this show. But yeah, Michael Elise is definitely a signing I'm going to be excited to watch and see if it develops. Now, speaking of development, segue. Anybody watch the under-18s yesterday? Cracker of a game. I think they came from behind twice to beat Liverpool. 4-3, the victors, and they are now top of the league. They've been the top of the league all season, but they are top of the league. 14 wins from 14 games, 46 goals scored, 42 points, 17 points ahead of Manchester City after 14 games played. Of course, City have got 2 games in hand, so they could reduce that, but convincing. There's a few comments down there. I don't know who it was. I think it was Wheatley who ended up. There was a Liverpool player. Don't know. Sod knows what his name was. Proper little scumbag. Legitimately, like, we're talking like, you know, the bloke who like swung at Howson is like that. Just a little like, right. There's a full on hook right to his head. Ref did nothing. And then, I don't know, about 15 minutes later or so, he goes and throws an elbow out as well. Proper little dick. But he didn't get anything. Not even a yellow card for either of them. Fantastic performance from them. And I think I've already said this before as to something that's coming on this channel. And the timing of it is perfect. And I'm really, really excited for this. Daff, if you're watching, big up to you, because you were watching the show the other day. But I am going to be doing an interview series with Daff from Academy Arena. Now, if you don't know who Academy Arena is, I suggest you go and follow them. They are an excellent resource and account to follow when it comes to the academy. Real inside knowledge, speaks to a lot of the players, watches all the games, and he is going to be able to give us and this community so much more information on this really exciting set of youngsters that we've got coming through, right? So we are going to be doing, I'll give you a little teaser. We're going to be doing a 5-part series, and we're going to be speaking about certain individuals. Our first video is going to be on Amir Ibrahimov. So much noise around him, but I want to offer some more actual genuine information about how he's developed, his natural game, what players could he be compared to, what does he need to develop more. You'll know a lot more about Ibrahimov after watching that. We're also going to do a video on Shea Lacey. We're also going to be doing a video on Harry and Mass. We're also going to be doing a video on Jack Fletcher and Tyler Fletcher, and also taking a look at any of the other under-18s like Jace Fitzgerald. There's plenty of them. I think it's going to be a series that goes down really well on this channel. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing it because, again, I don't think any other channel does that level of in-depth content around the academy. So I think you'll enjoy it. But 14 wins from 14. And in the last 3 games, they've beaten Liverpool 4-3, Leeds 4-0, and City 1-0. Bang, bang, bang. Really is a talented set of players. Really is. Yeah, Bianchetti as well, Gabriel. The striker we signed from Cardiff, if I remember correctly. He looks good too. Lots of them. I'll run through. Klein, man, you legend. Klein, one of the proper OGs as well. I remember the real OGs. Jeez. Might have to make some like little merch. Maybe we can get like little special. I'll tell you what about the merch, by the way. Can I say this? You know how I'm trying to elevate the quality of everything. I really want United People's TV to stand out from the crowd. What if I tell you I'm working towards embroidered merch, not just a print. We're talking stitch. That's a level up from what any other merch is, and it was. I'm I'm just doing a lot of things at once. So that's why I've had to stop the podcast right now, because I've been working too much on the software. So I've just been juggling a little bit too much, and certain things get put to the side. But yeah, you wait. The merch that comes out, there's going to be embroidered merch, and that's really going to be top level. I'm looking forward to doing that. Software will be coming first. Don't be worried about that. I will not be getting my needles out. I will not be sewing. Sewing is not my thing. All right, stick to what you're good at. All right, it's not sewing. My gran was great sewing, though. Big up Hilda. Big up gran. Right. we need to speak about this a little bit more. Not going to be a full-blown conversation like we've had all week, but there's just been some reaction and conversation that I want to speak about, and yeah, I want to talk to you as a community about. And the first thing I want to pull up here is a video from Gary Neville and his advice for Marcus Rashford, which I think is probably the soundest advice that he'll receive.
Going out for a drink or going out for a night out is something that every football player should do and will do. So I've got no problem with that whatsoever. You know, they need to enjoy themselves. It's just all about choices and timing. And I said this after the Manchester City game. We got beat at home by City a few months ago, and he went out that night to China White. I think it was for his birthday. And I said, you know, I think we had a game against Newcastle on the Wednesday in the Carabao Cup or something like that. And I just said, look, choose your time. I think Manchester United have just had a winter break. They've had a couple of weeks off, so there was a better moment for him to choose to go out. So I would say go out, have your moment where you relax with your friends, but just your timing's got to be right. I've always seen Marcus as being really responsible, a good professional, someone who works hard every single day. And he's going through a dip in form at this moment in time. But it's happened once, it's now happened twice, and it sometimes can become your personality if you're not careful. You know, if you do it too many times, people can start to say, well, what's happening in his life? So he just needs to relax, calm down, drink a bit of cacao, choose when to go out and get back to playing football at the levels which we know.
Drink a bit of cacao. But anyway, I think that from Neville, that the overall tone of that was constructive criticism, right? Wasn't it? He's like, without saying it, he's saying, mate, you're an idiot for going out when you went out. If you're going to go out, go out. Everybody's entitled to. But don't do it the night before training. Don't then turn up or not turn up to training the next day. And it's completely correct. And I think this is oh, is that a Dragon's Den reference? Right, there you go. I didn't watch Dragon's Den. But I think that was pretty much the premise of my reaction. I was really disappointed that Marcus Rashford did it, but more disappointed with the timing of it. I just didn't understand it because it showed a lack of respect for Man United. It showed a lack of respect for Ten Hag, a lack of respect for his other players, just a complete lack of respect for the contract that he had signed. However, just what he said there, right? If you do things enough times, it might be known as your personality. Can I show you what has to be one of the worst headlines and worst references I think I've ever seen when it comes to Manchester United? Right? I just want to sort of. I've read it this morning. I was like, nah, that's wrong. I opened the full article. Goes, no, he's actually done that. He's actually. I mean, I don't know where you start with that one. I really don't know where you start with that one. I mean, George Best was quite literally an alcoholic. And George Best was quite literally an absolute genius. I mean, arguably, he's the best player to ever play for Manchester United. I mean, how you're going from him walloping a couple of tequila shots to can he avoid this is what exactly what Gary Neville said there. If you do it too many times, and he's done it, it's not that he's done that to it. He's been spotted. He went out to China White after United lost the derby early this season, and now he's done this in Belfast. So they've connected the two together. But just like fuck me, like George Best was like a raging alcoholic. He would turn up steaming, but he was such a genius that you couldn't really moan. But the connection there was, mate. Has anybody ever tried to play football hungover? I mean, I'm sure we haven't. Anyone's done Sunday League. It is grim. Any sport hungover is nasty. But anyway, trying to sort of link that is crazy. And you know what's even more kind of more crazy than that is this week, right? There has been so much said and so much noise around Marcus Rashford. And there's been less noise about Kyle Walker cheating on his wife with a model, getting her pregnant, hiding it, getting found out, and then when he went down to London for groin surgery, meeting up with said model again, getting her pregnant again, and him. So Rashford getting drunk in Belfast has had more coverage than Kyle Walker having a secret family. Just, you what? You what? You're like, what's going on here? And you realise Manchester United. But Rashford deserves all the criticism that he got. Okay, and there's lots being said here now about, oh, is Rashford, is Ten Hag being tough enough? In my opinion, I think Rashford should have been dropped against Wolves. He was dropped against Newport, right? So that's one thing I want to quickly say here, right? People are going to suggest that Marcus Rashford, if he's in the squad to face Wolves on Thursday, that Marcus Rashford, he hasn't been punished at all. Oh, he's completely got away with it. Marcus Rashford often, this part here just made me, I did a tweet yesterday, but I've deleted it this morning. I was like, Rashford offered to play against Newport on Sunday. I was like, oh, that's nice of him, isn't it? He's offered to do his job. What a guy. I realised if I left that tweet up, then I was sort of kind of undermining myself a little bit. So I deleted it this morning. But Rashford offered, and Ten Hag said, no, mate, no chance. You're staying at Carrington. So he was already dropped for the game against Newport. Not that we needed him anyway. In my opinion, I would have preferred to have seen Marcus Rashford dropped against Wolves. And maybe he will be dropped from the starting 11, and maybe he'll come off the bench and score the winner just like he did last year. But you know the thing that's different this time, right? Because I'm seeing here that Ten Hag's authority is waning. People are going to be using this as ammo against Ten Hag. Naturally, that's what the press does. That's what everybody does. But I want to ask you, what's different this time? Because I think it's quite obvious what's different this time. Not with how he's dealing with Rashford, right? Now, Laurie Whitwell, when he did this article here, he spoke about context. I think context is important. Rashford did accept responsibility. He sat there, he spoke, he apologized to his manager directly to his face on Monday. I mean, you can't not. There's videos of it, right? Sorry, man, I lied. You got caught out. Shit, red-handed. Sancho never did that. People trying to compare the Rashford and Sancho situation is like apples and oranges. It is just not even slightly close. And truth be told, of course, Ten Hag is going to treat it differently because he's got a player there who last season scored 30 goals for him. And you might think, oh, everybody's got to be treated the same, this and that. That's just not really what happens in reality. Because you build up credit. Just in the way that I personally, I wouldn't have given I wouldn't have been so patient with Erik Ten Hag this season as a manager if I hadn't seen what we did last season in February and winning the League Cup, and we were at our peak last season. We were great. I would have approached Erik Ten Hag differently this season. Just like Erik Ten Hag is going to approach this Rashford situation differently because he's performed for him. He scored 30 goals last season for him. And if Sancho had done the same thing last season, he would have got more leeway. I'm going to go and see what you're saying down here in the comments. No, this is definitely going to be something that splits opinion for sure. There's a couple of super chats. I want to read these out. Oh, Calvin, man. Jeez. I can't say the name Calvin without thinking Alvin of Simon Theodore. I'm a I must have liked the Chipmunks a lot more than I thought I did when I was a kid. Chili, man, I don't know what you're talking about. You talking about the Carl? No, you're talking about George Best one. That's mad. Is Erik Ten Hag treating Rashford like Fergie treated Cantona? People like, what are we doing here? You got the Telegraph trying to say that Rashford, watch out, he might become a raging alcoholic like George Best because he went out and had a couple of tequilas. That's a stretch. That is such a ridiculous stretch. also trying to even slightly put Rashford in the same category as Cantona is like, oh, come on, people. No, it's not even. I'm not even going to entertain that. And this is what you're saying. You're saying a senior player, an academy graduate, and from Manchester, he should be setting an example. If he can't lead by example, who will? It's a very, very true comment, and that's. I don't know whether Rashford has grasped the role that he has in this Manchester United team now, because we've seen him come through the academy, and he was that kid who scored 2 in his Premier League debut against Arsenal after scoring 2 against Midtjylland, and he's always sort of been like not up and coming, but there's always been someone else to look towards as the leader, and then Rashford was there as well. But there's not any. I've already ran through it. Like Hoyland's 20, Garnacho's 19, Anthony's 22, Pellistri now gone on own. He's what 20, and Ahmad's like 21, 22. Like Rashford is the senior guy, and he's acting in a childish fashion. Pete is saying, sorry, Sam, you're not old enough to watch George Best. Rashford not good enough to lace his boots. Hey, dude, I'm in agreement with you here. I'm not saying that Rashford is anything like George Best. Not the genius of the football or the madness of the character. Neither of them. That's why that's such a mad headline. Akash, you head. Don't know why I called you head. Ledge. Gifting 5. Can I just say to everyone, please join the Discord. When, fingers crossed, touch wood, the new software launches on Friday, anybody who's a member and in the Discord will get something that nobody else gets, and you'll get access to a certain part of the live show that nobody else will be able to get involved in. So if you're a member, you can join that now. All you got to do is link your YouTube channel. It's very easy. But what I was trying to say there, before I got a bit distracted, was this idea now that Ten Hag's authority is waning. He's losing the dressing room. Like we've been here before. Players doing what they wanted. A manager who clearly has the right intentions of sweeping it out of the club. You know what's different now? This. Erik Ten Hag finally has the support around him from the beginnings of the support structure around him that drive those standards from the top. On the same day that Marcus Rashford, I think this is worthy of a video unto itself tomorrow, and I think I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll figure it out. But for the first time in a long time, we are going to get the same sort of power, or not the same power, but the same drive for higher standards, sporting excellence, committing yourself to the job from the management as well as from INEOS. So instead of it being like Erik Ten Hag kind of like trying to squeeze the standards upwards, but then when it gets to a certain point, then it was everyone just kind of like he loses power, because they get too far away from it. It's now going to be like top down. It's going to be pressure from both sides. INEOS are going to drive the same standards that Erik Ten Hag is, and I think that is definitely going to be a part where Ten Hag and INEOS are aligned. I don't know whether they're going to be aligned enough that Ten Hag's going to be our manager next season. I think that depends pretty much on whether or not we're successful between now and the end of the season. But that bit there is that's why I think that headline is absolutely ridiculous. Ten Hag's authority is waning. I think if anything, Ten Hag's authority is gaining rather than waning. Simply because the standards at this club are all changing. It's like Ten Hag, if Ten Hag had this structure in 18 months ago, right? If we had had INEOS in place and we had had this concept of an ecosystem of excellence, and it can only be achieved with full investment of players, collaboration and discipline. If we had a manager that was backed up by a structure that INEOS is trying to put into the club, like shit me, we would be in a very different position right now. I wonder whether Erik Ten Hag is going to have the staying power to exist in that environment. I don't know whether damage might be done, but we'll find out, I suppose, in the goodness of this season. But I don't think his power is waning at all. I think, if anything, the conversations and meetings that Brailsford and Ratcliffe are having are doubling down on what Erik ten Hag is trying to do. I think, anyway. That's my opinion. I'm going to super chat out and I'm going to read some of your comments, and I'm going to move on to talk about the director of football. Klein saying, "We are united, Sam." Yeah, we will always make headlines, sir. We live rent-free in their heads. Hey, dude, I've so many people just have nightmares about United, get little twinges, get little tweaks. Scarred childhoods created scarred adults. Remember Erik ten Hag saying pick on performance, not name. This is the thing, and I think I said this to you. Is that the photo there? No, is it that one? Where's the photo? That one. I think I said this to you. One second. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Damn it. Don't you hate when that happens? Too many things going on in my head. That was it. Like, right now, Rashford is the talk of the town because of everything that's gone on at Belfast. If Rashford starts against Wolves, or if Rashford comes off the bench against Wolves and he bangs in a goal or two and he puts in a man of the match performance, do you think anybody's going to be talking about Belfast on Friday? No, they won't. News gets buried quickly. It can either get compounded with more bad news, and unfortunately for Rashford, he's put that pressure on himself now. That's not anybody else's fault. That's Rashford's fault. After a season where he's underperformed, and he's decided to go out and get drunk the night before training and miss training. But if he goes in and bangs in a couple of goals, then the narrative changes. And it's up to Rashford now to deliver that on Thursday if he gets the opportunity. If not, against West Ham on Sunday. But as I was saying, this talking point here, INEOS and what they're trying to drive and what they're trying to bring into the club. And we've got this article yesterday from the Telegraph. Like, things are just... We are so used to our club operating through treacle. Just everything takes time. Ross, you're saying that Ten Hag's power can't be gaining. I'm saying I'm not talking about the football specifically. I'm talking about his principles of be fucking disciplined. Sorry to swear. Commit yourself to the job. Nutrition, sleep, recovery. Those principles are gaining volume at the club, is what I'm trying to say. They're not getting muted down. They're not getting pushed down by player power, and that's winning again. It's no sod that. INEOS are saying the same thing, and they own the football operations department now. So that's not going to go away anytime soon. What Ten Hag has been trying to instill with the discipline at this club is completely correct. And even if he gets sacked, the next person who comes in, that exact same thing is going to exist, because that is going to be a principle that's held by the sporting director and by the CEO. I mean, I don't know how you disagree with me on that one. I really don't know. You all these conversations about the sporting excellence and the elite performance environment. That's got nothing to do with Erik ten Hag. That's now coming from above him and above every one of these players. And it will come from his sporting director as well. Let's have a quick conversation about this, because this is exciting. As I said, we're not used to our club acting even slightly fast. Everything's slow. Everything's cumbersome. Everything is just dithered decision-making. Whereas Manchester United are hoping to have a director of football appointed within the next few weeks. And the Telegraph has sort of whittled it down to 4 names, okay? Let me run through this. INEOS have whittled down the search for a new director of football to a couple of names. And this is who's named down here. Dan Ashworth, Julian Ward, Dougie Freedman, and Paul Mitchell. And there's some other names down there. I think I've already done this video previously, quite a while ago, actually. And it was the exact same set of names, I think. Apart from Cristiano Giuntoli. Don't think we mentioned him. The rest of them we did. We might have had a little mini conversation around Michael Edwards. But as David David Ornstein showed yesterday. Michael Edwards was the sporting director at Liverpool, probably during their most successful modern period under Klopp, and he made some incredible signings. But he left and then was actually replaced by Julian Ward, who's now being linked to United now that he's already left Liverpool again. Michael Edwards doesn't want to go back to Liverpool. Michael Edwards has started an agency now. He's more like I think he's just, whatever he started with his agency, probably more like a consultancy. He'd rather be in that role rather than working full-time with one. I think he'd rather work with loads of others and give advice and help to a load of other people rather than just working on one particular club. So I don't think he's going to come anywhere United. He's not going anywhere near Liverpool either. But the four names there, Dan Ashworth, Julian Ward, Dougie Freedman and Paul Mitchell. Now, Dougie Freedman is a really interesting one because I could do a video of 10 really impressive signings that Dougie Freedman has made for Crystal Palace. And they're on the verge now of signing Adam Wharton from Blackburn Rovers for around about 20 million. And he is somebody who is extremely highly rated. There are some absolute scorchers from the Championship. There really are, right? Some people might turn their nose up at it. Oh, we're United. We can't get that out of your mind. You are missing out on so many incredibly talented players by having that concept in your head. And that's why you're not director of football at our club and why I'm not either. My personal opinion is that Dan Ashworth and Paul Mitchell as a combination would be dreamy. I don't know whether Paul Mitchell would want to work under Dan Ashworth. And I don't know whether it's not whether or not we can get Dan Ashworth. I personally think that's a rhetorical question. It doesn't matter what Newcastle have done or doing it. It really, really doesn't. And I don't mean this, and I know it's going to come across egotistical and arrogant, but yeah, it's arrogant for a reason. If Manchester United come knocking on the door of Dan Ashworth, he is going to pack his bag and run away from Newcastle. Maybe not run away, but he's going to say, thank you very much. Yeah, but I'm off. See ya. Just in the same way we went to Omar Barada at City at the right time, offered him that role. Yeah. He handed in his resignation and said, see ya. Dan Ashworth would cost a few million. We'd have to pay the compensation. Might have to do gardening leave as well. There's complications to that. The simplest of all four of those, well, two of the simple ones would be Julian Ward and Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell out of a job since he left Monaco sporting director, and Julian Ward since he left Liverpool's sporting director. Dougie Freedman it might not be a sexy name, but this position isn't about sexy names. This position is about getting the smartest people in place. And you just kind of wonder, is there going to be something maybe just in the same way? I think this is an interesting one to think about, right? Let me pull this photo up. It's just something I was thinking about. I don't know whether it's going to actually be the case or not at all. But this, right? When this announcement was made, yeah, Dougie is not a sexy name. Got an uncle called Dougie. I haven't seen him in years, actually. He was always good fun. Anyway, the Omar Barada appointment, out of nowhere. Nobody had Omar Barada's name on that list. But we went out and got him. And the interesting point here about INEOS wanting Barada in place so he could have valuable input into the choice of director of football is, I think, a really interesting point, because Omar Barada is going to be putting names forward. And then you think, and if you do your research and you go, well, where might Omar Barada look? And a name that's kind of been mentioned sparingly, but you look at what Girona are doing and how they've managed to sort of come out of nowhere. Could there be some talent around there in the sporting structure? Who else inside that City football group could Omar Barada headhunt? Nepe is another name that, of course, has left Bayern Munich. I wonder whether this will be a surprise curveball in the same way that Omar Barada was. And I would trust. I mean, I wouldn't completely trust, but I'd have confidence that they're going to make the right decision. It's not going to be a case of going after who they can potentially get. It's like, nah, man. Who's our first choice? Yeah, we'll go out and get him. Good, done. Omar Barella was their first choice. Good, go out and get him. Let's find out what happens on the sporting director. But according to the Telegraph, this should be happening in the next few weeks. So in the next few weeks, we could be getting the Ratcliffe appointment. No, not could be getting. We should be getting the Ratcliffe appointment. And we could be getting the announcement of a sporting director. And I hope it happens in the next 12 days or so, because I've got something coming up in February that's going to make me ever so slightly busy. So I hope it's all done in the next 12 days. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see if it's one of those four names: Dan Ashworth, Julian Ward, Dougie Freedman, Paul Mitchell, or if it's somebody else. It was David Ornstein who led with the Omar Barada story last time. Will David Ornstein be leading on it this time? Let's find out. I'm going to read a couple of your questions out down here, and then we're going to move on to speak about Facundo Pellistri, Amad Diallo, and a little bit on Wolves. All right. If you can, I don't ask this enough. Please drop a like on the video. I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes. So many people just sit there and enjoy it, and you can enjoy the content. But if you drop a like on it, it tells YouTube that you enjoy it. And YouTube will then show it to more people. The channel will grow. Therefore, the community grows, and I can put more into it. Everyone's a winner. What else? INEOS should get the best, no exception, says Origami. It's exactly what they did with Barada. And I think it's exactly what they're going to do with this director of football. It's not a case of getting somebody, just go and get Paul Mitchell because it's the easiest. You know, he's not in a contract. No, it's not that. They will go out and get who they want. And you're saying if it's Nepe, do you think that increases the likeliness that Ten Hag goes in the summer and Tuchel comes in? I mean, if you want to do 2 + 2 = 4, Ant, then you can. I don't think it changes much. Well, I suppose it would change something because, again, just like Ten Hag left Ajax and then thought, the best player, I need a right winger. Let's go and get Anthony. Nepe might come in as a technical director going, we need to get a new manager. Tuchel, because it's familiarity. So it'll definitely be a name in his mind, but doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be the right thing. Yeah, I just wonder if it'll be another surprise. We'll find out. Another couple of questions down here. Sam, man, first choice was always Paul for me, but after seeing your video, Dan, Sam, I'm hoping it's Dan. Well, you know what I'm hoping for? I'm hoping for Dan Ashworth with Paul Mitchell underneath him. And I'm hoping that Paul Mitchell would be willing to it, because it would be for want of a better phrase, it would be a demotion for Paul Mitchell to go from being the sporting director at Monaco to the head of recruitment at Manchester United. Is kind of a demotion, but not really, because you're going from Monaco to Manchester United. You're going from like probably a B-lister club. Yeah, I put Monaco on the B list to like the S list. There's only 5 clubs up there. I'm telling you: Manchester United, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona. They are the 5 clubs right on the S tier. There's no one else at that level. No amount of oil money, no amount of anything that you win is going to put City or PSG or anything towards that S level. That is those 5 clubs only. So it might be a demotion on paper, but still, it'll be the biggest job that he ever has. I like to think he'd take it, but we'll find out. I'm Potato. How you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a while. There's a little random point here. I'm going to give you a little 5 gifted memberships. Get the gong out. Anybody watch Outdoor Boys on YouTube? I'm obsessed with this dude. Can't stop watching him. I'm watching him like every night before bed now. If you haven't watched Outdoor Boys, just go and type Outdoor Boys and go and watch him. It's like, I think his name's Luke from Alaska. Just goes out. It's incredible. It really, really is. Just goes out into the wild. Love that guy. Love that guy. Madhouse, what happened to Juve and AC? Yeah, man, they fell off. But yeah, in my opinion, there's only 5 clubs on that list. There's only 5 clubs on that list, and Manchester United is one of them. Now, let's speak about a couple of signings. Everyone moaning about the gong. Hey, look, the gong is there. It's not Dope Boys, Outdoor Boys, all right? Outdoor. I'm gonna drop the link down here because I want this guy. Everybody should be watching this guy. I showed it to my mate the weekend, and he goes, mate, why did you send me that? I'm absolutely obsessed by him now. merch. I wanna buy some merch. Anyway, it's random. There you go. Watch that. Right. Transfer news. There is no signings, all right? Spoiler alert. There hasn't really been any chance of a signing all summer, all winter. And we've got the 10th exit here. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano on Pellistri. And we've had comments, debate, not arguments. We've had debates down here. Some of you think that it's the right thing to send Pellistri out on loan. Some of you think it's the wrong thing. Truth be told, I don't think Pellistri will kick a ball for Manchester United again. I think we'll sell him in the summer. Out of the two, and I know this is a personal opinion, out of the two, I would have preferred to have kept Ahmad as the option on that right wing ahead of Pellistri. Oh, he's not been tested. He's not been trialed. Neither of them really have. And if I'm going to be hedging my bets on one, I would hedge my bets on Ahmad. I would rather have somebody who's more technical with the ball at his feet. I'm telling you, that is a big focus point of us. Our players are just not good enough at football. Pellistri is a bit like Anthony. One-dimensional. He can skip passes, man, but are his final balls in? I think Pellistri goes on. Hopefully he enjoys the loan spell. Hopefully it's a good loan spell. I think Alvaro Fernandez only started like 5 games when he went there. But I think he goes out there and gets sold. And James down there, again, this is why you need to read. This is like, you'll read something in one place and then not read where the full story is. So there's Fabrizio Romano absolutely debunking that story that Ahmad wants to go back to Sunderland. He doesn't want to go anywhere. Absolutely. This is what I mean. People, don't take stories at face value. This is just it's not me having to go at you there, James. This is like Chinese whispers. This is how stuff spreads. This is why people, just stories get made up everywhere. And it's so frustrating. It's something that I suppose that's a big reason why this show exists, really, is I try to bring you actual news. I won't have a whole half-an-hour conversation about an article that's written in The Sun by a waitress who sold her story there. No, I'm not going to do that. It's a waste of time. But Ahmad's not asked to leave the club, and he's staying at the club. And out of the 2 of them, I would be more excited to see what Ahmad could do for the rest of the season than Pellistri. Personal choice. And I think Ten Hag made the right choice there. But good luck to Pellistri at Granada. And as I said, I hope he plays more games than Alvaro Fernandez did when he was on loan there. Last couple of minutes of the show, we'll have a little conversation about it. We'll have a proper conversation about Wolves tomorrow. I'll run through my starting 11. What are you thinking about Wolves? Let me see what's up. I'm guessing the press conference is like 12:30-ish. Let's have a look. Nottingham Forest signing an 18-year-old from Sporting Lisbon. Rodrigo Ribeiro. Who's he? I ain't got no idea. Oh, new striker. There you go. What do you think about the Wolves game? I think it's like this afternoon. Yeah, I think Onana will start. I'll be honest. I think he will. I can't say anything new on the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United that hasn't already been said before. And it's kind of like flogging a dead horse. I know that Onana is a better goalkeeper than we have seen at Manchester United this season. All right. But playing for Inter and playing for United are 2 different things. Just because you can play at one club doesn't mean you can play in another club. That is completely correct. But having Martinez in that team, having Shaw in that team, having that back 5, it should probably be, I think, pretty much as strong a defense as we can put out. It might even be our absolute first choice. I'm going to run through my starting 11 a little bit later. What else you saying down here? And of course you're worried we'll lose, man. I'm not sure there is a game ever where you think we're going to win. The natural pessimist. You're like an embodiment of a large portion of United fans. The natural pessimism will eventually disappear when we start being good again, but we are currently 9th. I'm going to run through my full starting 11 a little bit later in the show. Later today. That's my lunchtime video. I'm going to wait until Ten Hag's press conference is out. Bring all the team news from that. Let's have a quick look at Wolves'. What have their results been like in the league? Let's have a peep. Let's have a quick peep at their form overall. Okay, this is their form overall. And then we'll have a peep at their form in the league. Okay. So this is their form overall. Won the FA Cup against the game against West Brom at the weekend. But that was a spicy one. I think there was a Wolves fan in the West Brom end. Got absolutely slapped up. Amrabat got sent off last night. That was in like the 91st minute. I think he got sent off for last man tackle. And then Morocco got knocked out by South Africa. So he's going to be back. Drew against Brighton the game before. FA Cup. We beat Brentford 3-2. But then that was a replay. Beat Everton 3-0. Beat Brentford. Let's have a look at their Premier League form. Last however many games. Drew against Brighton. Beat Everton. Beat Wolves. Beat Brentford 4-1 away as a convincing win. Beat Chelsea at home. Lost away to West Ham. Drew against Forest. Beat Burnley. Lost. Up and down. Where are they in the league? 3 points behind us in the league. Won 3 out of the last 5. So they're in much better form than United are. I'm going to run through the full team news a little bit later in the show. Am I completely confident? No. You can't be with this United team. It's impossible. And we're away from home. We won there last season 1-0, I think, though. That was the Rashford one. Well, of course, he came off the bench to score the winner after being dropped. Could we get a repeat? Just means that next year, if Rashford's still a United player, when we got Wolves away, just make sure you've got him booked into like some sort of retreat holiday in the week build up to the Wolves game, so he doesn't do anything sort of mad. But look, thank you all for tuning in today. There's a lot of interesting talking points. I think so, anyway. Big up, can I say to everybody, by the way, from Fizz, who gifted 10 before the show even started, to Gunshi, Klein, Calvin, Akash, and I'm a Potato, all gifted memberships. Here is the link to the Discord. All right. All of you, please join in, because trust me, you want to be in there for Friday. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm going to be testing. Now that I've been doing all the groundwork on the software this afternoon, finally, we do the final bit of testing. And if that goes right, then we're all going to be good for Friday. Fingers crossed. I'll be here at lunchtime today with my Start 11 show. Big up to all of you. Have a good day.